That's good. Little feint.
In this, minute he gets it within any range, the speed and the power of the Cobra detonating on his chin, fights.
Carl Froch appears determined to send a clear message to John Fury, and the boxing world has taken notice. Recent reports surrounding a brutal sparring session, combined with leaked training footage, have reignited discussion about a potential showdown between the former world champion and Tyson Fury's outspoken father. The footage has quickly become a major talking point. For many observers, it serves as a reminder that Froch may be retired from professional competition, but the qualities that made him one of boxing's toughest and most respected champions have not disappeared. The power, aggression, timing, and confidence that defined his career still appear to be present. While John Fury continues...
My knee's a bit dodgy, but I carried on the spar, finished the spar, and trust me, I got him back.
Continues to call for the fight and exchange verbal shots through the media. Froch's message seems straightforward. If the fight happens, John Fury will have to deal with the consequences inside the ring. Froch himself has made it clear that he recently worked through a sparring session despite carrying a...
Because that's only sparring. If you get dropped in sparring, it means you're learning. Tomorrow morning, you don't get dropped in the same shot. So him getting dropped in sparring, that means he's learning on the job. So it's okay. Who cares? Alexander usually gets dropped in sparring, but he's learning.
Troublesome knee injury. Rather than portraying the experience as a difficult challenge, he described it as something he controlled from start to finish. His comments suggest that the session was not chaos from his perspective. Instead, it was another example of experience overcoming adversity. That distinction matters. Froch is not attempting to convince people that he is still...
But that don't mean nothing, because the gym don't win fights. But, that's what I heard. Again, like I said, it was within the last 24 hours since I've been here. I heard that, but again, I don't know if it's true or not.
In his physical prime. What he appears to be emphasizing is that decades of elite-level experience remain a powerful weapon. Ring intelligence, composure, and timing do not simply vanish after retirement. Not everyone agrees on the significance of sparring stories. However, former heavyweight contender Derek Chisora offered a more balanced and measured perspective. In his
and that's what probably surprised. Well, no, probably what surprised me more than anything was the confidence that he had. He was getting it with me. I was world champion at that point, and this young man came in, and he really just tried.
Sparring is primarily a learning environment. Fighters make mistakes, test ideas, and work on improvements. Being caught with a shot or having a difficult session in the gym does not necessarily reflect what would happen on fight night. According to Chisora's reasoning, sparring should not be treated as a final judgment on a fighter's abilities. The purpose of training...
It's a show business. We're not here when it's not a political room of educated men. These are fighters teams. What a way to sell the fight. My dad's an excellent salesman and he's done a fantastic job. So big up, John Fury. Get up, son.
Big up, John.
Is development. And many mistakes made in the gym are corrected long before a real contest takes place. Shannon Briggs echoed some of that skepticism. While acknowledging the stories circulating around the boxing community, Briggs emphasized that sparring results often mean very little when compared.
Gets into the moment, forgets himself. You can see, excuse the bad language, but this is, when you see that, this is the moment when he realized he beat up. It was that, when John had done it, like, shit, what have I done? But he had to own it. I think the pressure was on. The pressure is now on John to behave himself. He's distracted. A lot of attention and talk and
the actual fights. He also admitted that much of what he had heard was based on rumor rather than confirmed facts. That admission highlights a common reality within boxing. Gym stories travel fast. A single sparring session can generate headlines.
Just makes a mockery of boxing and just disgust and disgrace the room. I mean, it's disgusting and disgraceful what he's done. He should be embarrassed. I hope he is embarrassed, but it's not acceptable. I don't know why he's done it.
Arguments and endless speculation, even when very few people actually witnessed what happened. Rumors frequently become accepted as fact before all the details are known. Yet despite that uncertainty, the discussion surrounding Froch continues to grow. Former world champion Johnny Nelson focused on something different entirely. Rather than concentrating on who may have won or lost a sparring exchange, Nelson was struck by Froch's confidence.
Else it seemed. I wasn't there when it happened because we was inside doing whatever we was doing, other interviews I think, and somebody showed it to me. I see John with his cut head. Look, that's not what we want. I don't want to see that happen. No one does. But I understand now both sides have made it up. They've apologised. So hopefully it's all in the past and we can concentrate what everybody's out here for, which is a...
Watching the footage, he saw a man who still carried himself like a champion. From Nelson's perspective, this was not merely a retired fighter staying active. It looked like a statement. Froch appeared determined to impose himself, dominate exchanges, and remind everyone of the mentality that carried him through a career filled with elite opposition. That confidence is a major reason why the footage has attracted so much attention. Meanwhile,
He knows how to shout houses down and make threats and swear and all the rest of it because he creates chaos wherever he goes. And for whatever the reason, the public...
John Fury has wasted no time turning the discussion into a direct challenge. He continues to call for the fight and has openly spoken about the financial opportunities such an event could create. Fury has even framed the contest as a chance to make history later in life. However, his enthusiasm has prompted a question that many boxing observers continue to ask. Is this genuine confidence, or is it a challenge fueled more by emotion and publicity than realistic expectations? The distinction becomes important when considering who Carl Froch actually is. This is not a former champion who collected a title briefly before fading away. Froch built his reputation through years of competition against...
Fight Eddie Hall, he's that big. If you get in a tear-up with him and he lands, £100 difference, it could be fatal, do you know what I mean? It could be very, very, very bad news. So that was a game plan, hit and move. Hopefully he would have got a little bit more tired and then press him. But like I said, a lot of pressure on there, and he did the job done. He didn't really get hit with much, and yeah, fair play to both.
Some of the toughest fighters of his era. He competed at the highest level, won world titles, and consistently faced elite opposition. Because of that history, many boxing figures appear concerned about what could happen if John Fury genuinely steps into the ring with him. Johnny Nelson went as far as suggesting that the greatest danger may not be Froch's physical abilities, but his mindset. An emotional fighter who loses control can become vulnerable. A calm and calculated fighter facing an emotional opponent often...
He went for him. He put his head in his face and he said, I'll butt you in the nose and give it all that. And Steve was like, I'm your friend, John. He's like, you're no friend of mine. And then he walked off. But that was out of order on Steve Bunce. He's been going through a few personal hardships of late, which I won't go into, but it's not on. Steve Bunce
holds a significant advantage. Froch's public comments suggest he is not merely irritated by John Fury's behavior. He appears genuinely offended and motivated by it. That combination could prove dangerous. Several boxing insiders have pointed to the training footage as evidence that Froch's instincts remain sharp. The combinations still flow naturally. The timing still appears precise. The movement still reflects years of elite-level training. Meanwhile, John Fury has wasted no time turning the discussion into a direct challenge. He continues...
Tommy talking about saying you're unprofessional or...
Yeah, I am unprofessional, but this is the fight game. I'm trying to build a fight with me and him. And he's saying I'm unprofessional. Yeah, I'm extremely unprofessional, but this is the fight game. We're fighters.
How do you think the fight actually goes?
With me and Tommy?
No, with Eddie and Tommy.
I think Eddie's going to beat him.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Stop him.
I think Eddie's going to beat him. I think Tommy's poor. I think he's poor.
He continues to call for the fight and has openly spoken about the financial opportunities such an event could create. Fury has even framed the contest as a chance to make history later in life. However, his enthusiasm has prompted a question that many boxing observers continue to ask. Is this genuine confidence, Or is it a challenge fueled more by emotion and publicity than realistic expectations? The distinction becomes important when considering who Carl Froch actually is. This is not a former champion who collected a title briefly.
Tommy won the fight, there's no doubt about that. But you know what? I'm not going to lie to you, it is what it is. It's two novice fighters who've got huge social media following, and they've capitalised on that. People bought into it, and I'm amazed at the amount of publicity that it's got both before and after the fight. It's just amazing. Everybody's been...
Before fading away. Froch built his reputation through years of competition against some of the toughest fighters of his era. He competed at the highest level, won world titles, and consistently faced elite opposition. Because of that history, many boxing figures appear concerned about what could happen if John Fury genuinely steps into the ring with him. Johnny Nelson went as far as suggesting that the greatest danger may not be Froch's physical abilities, but his mindset. An emotional fighter who loses control can become...
It's very solid. The thing is, because he's a novice, Tommy hits as hard as... he's a strong puncher, but because he's a novice, it's hard to set up. So another training camp, he can only get better. So when he gets his set up and his feet's underneath him, instead of falling in, he'll catch him and knock him out. He can knock anyone out. He hits an heavyweight on the chin.
Vulnerable. A calm and calculated fighter facing an emotional opponent often holds a significant advantage. Froch's public comments suggest he is not merely irritated by John Fury's behavior. He appears genuinely offended and motivated by it. That combination could prove dangerous. Several boxing insiders have pointed to the training footage as evidence that Froch's instincts remain sharp. The combinations still flow naturally. The timing still appears precise. The movement still reflects years of elite-level training. From a boxing perspective, that strategy makes sense. The problem, according to many observers,
this fight might actually get made if John doesn't vanish like he did last time. So John, listen up and listen closely, because I want you to get this into your thick fucking skull. This has been going on for too long now. I saw you punching a Perspex picture on the wall the other day. Walls don't hit back. You're a fucking bully. Started on Carl Frampton.
Is that Carl Froch is not Eddie Hall. Froch spent his entire career dealing with movement, angles, and tactical opponents. He fought men whose objective was to avoid his pressure and neutralize his strengths. Learning how to solve those problems became part of his identity as a fighter. Critics therefore question whether John Fury possesses the footwork, timing, conditioning, or technical skills necessary to execute such a strategy against someone with Froch's background. The Fury family has extensive fighting experience, but Carl Froch...
If my father behaved like that at a press conference, I would put him straight and tell him, it's embarrassing and it can't be happening, mate. It's a really bad look for boxing. I'm actually surprised it's been allowed to go on and happen in a place where they're at, to be honest.
Represents a very different challenge from the opponents typically discussed in these comparisons. One of the most frequently repeated claims surrounding this saga is that the fight was close to becoming reality. According to Froch, the money was available, discussions had taken place, and momentum existed. Yet the contract never materialized. Now, with training footage circulating widely online, some supporters of Froch believe they understand why. From their perspective, anyone watching the footage can see the gap in experience and skill. That interpretation may be harsh, but it reflects a growing sentiment among sections of the boxing community. The contrast becomes even clearer when comparing Carl Froch to figures from influencer boxing and crossover events. Frank Warren recently acknowledged that many modern crossover fighters began...
Terrible. He's an embarrassment to Nottingham, him. Carl the Worm Froch. You know them championship belts he won, don't you? He wants to give them to somebody with a pair of nuts, because let me tell you, he's no street fighter. I'm a street fighter. It took 20 men told me there tonight. There's no 12-stone man or 13-stone man going to do any good with me. Because I bring different. I'm not going to box Carl Froch. I'm not going to box at all. I've got a lot of tricks up my sleeve and I'm a strong man. Look what Eddie Hall can do. Look what Rico and Ivan can do. Never write off a man with a big pair of nuts, my friend, and I've got the massivest nuts in this country, so I don't care if I live or die. And I would, you know, if I had to come to Manchester in a cripple's chair tonight, I'd have been, before I'd left. If I'd have said I'm going to be anywhere, and I didn't come, I wouldn't look in the mirror. I couldn't look at my missus and want to take her to bed because I wouldn't feel man enough to take her to bed. That's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So let me just tell you this much. Carl Froch wants to fight me. You're there, Calla. Can you make this fight? Can you make it?
Make it tomorrow. I mean,
Make
I
it.
just need 2 dance partners.
Make this fight.
And as relative novices who successfully leveraged social media popularity into major events. There's nothing inherently wrong with that model. It has become an important part of combat sports entertainment. However, Carl Froch comes from a different world. Everything he achieved was earned through traditional professional competition. World titles, championship fights, and elite opponents formed the foundation of his career. The footage appears to reinforce that distinction. Similarly, discussions about Tommy Fury's development as a boxer have highlighted areas where young fighters continue to improve. Learning how to set punches correctly, establish balance, and maximize power takes years of experience. Those observations inevitably lead some people back to John Fury. Carl Froch does not need to learn those lessons. He learned them decades ago.
Call me a friggin' shithouse.
A friggin' shithouse.
To me, when you call somebody a shithouse, it means they're a bottle job. It means they're scared to fight anybody. I fear no man born from his mother. I don't even know what that means, but he's called me a has-been. What's all this has-been business?
People are only interested in current champions, men who's doing stuff today, who's getting in and fighting. No one wants to know about an has-been. And that's all these people are, has-beens.
That comes from somebody who's a never been. Have you ever been to call me a has-been? Has-beens, it makes no sense. It's ridiculous. It comes from a jealous place.
Because they're friggin' jealous, because they're nobody.
I've never been jealous. I'm happy for boxers that get paid good money for doing the hardest, what I consider to be the hardest sport in the world.
He's been a champion of the world, but I'll tell you what, he's not a champion of the world man, is he? He's a first-class shithouse, wants to kick up the arse.
John Fury, there's no jealousy. I've never been a has-been, once a champion.
His muscle memory was built through thousands of rounds in training camps and countless moments under the brightest lights in boxing. Perhaps the most symbolic comparison in this entire debate involves social media performances. John Fury recently attracted attention by punching a picture off a wall. Carl Froch attracted attention by displaying sharp combinations, timing, and movement on the pads. To many observers, one appears designed for entertainment, while the other appears designed for preparation. Former champions such as Tony Bellew have also criticized aspects of John Fury's public behavior. Bellew's comments carried weight because they came from someone who understands the realities of professional boxing. When experienced fighters consistently express concern about a potential matchup,